from Security Breach. Oh, does he look great or what? But they look a lot different from the Funko counterparts. So Funko's going for their own style. Then it looks like they're going with the style called like the Cherubi or something.
If you're any bit familiar with FNAF merch, I'm sure you know who Puppet Steve is. He was quite a popular toy channel, and he still uploads to this day. And while I don't think he needs too big of an introduction, I do want to give a bit of a brief introduction for those who don't know who he is and why he's important to the FNAF fandom in particular. And to be blunt about it, he's a bit of a gaslighter. He was the first person to get a hold of some of the official FNAF plushies, including the security puppet, Freddy Frostbear, and the Blacklight Glamrock Freddy, which gave him a lot of credibility within the community, as he was sent those plushies months before they officially released, pretty much confirming that, yes, he did have a legit Funko contact. And then he made a promise with the community that if they could pick the next FNAF product line, it will get produced because he will send it to Funko, and they have apparently agreed to make it. So, the most popular result was the Withered animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, unsurprisingly. They are very popular characters that, for some reason, don't have action figures. So, after he supposedly sent his list of characters to Funko, we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and he kept saying they were coming, but they didn't, and now we're here.
Oh, I guess that means there's a bunch of Batman toys in this. Oh, yes. Oh, I can't wait to open this up now. Wait a minute. Did someone say they got a big box of Batman toys? This is awesome! Ghostbusters.
Now, I think it's pretty important to note that he wasn't straight up being deceitful here. I think he genuinely did send something to Funko and did intend that they would make it, but he obviously doesn't have control over that stuff. I'm thinking my best guess is that his contact said something along the lines of, send me a list of characters to make and I'll submit it to Funko, but there's no guarantee it'll be made. And whether intentionally or unintentionally, he interpreted that as, I get to decide the next wave, I'm gonna ask all the kids in my fan base. And whether you want to believe that he did it out of the goodness of his heart or for attention, I will leave up to you guys. But that's our little backstory on Puppet Steve. Not necessarily the most credible guy on Earth, although he is kind of credible. When he has something to show for it, he's credible. When he has nothing to show for it, you can't really believe anything this guy says. Now, I wouldn't really use this as a way to say he's completely uncredible, because he has gotten his suggestions made before. Glitch Trap was a suggestion from him, Freddy Frostbear was a suggestion from him, and Red Bear was too, and he's a very obscure character. I don't even know how Puppet Steve found out about that. He doesn't know what the fanverse is.
Actually, these are all fan-made creations called the Funverse. Little bulldog. I haven't even played this game, so I'm not sure even what character this could be, but yep. There he is!
All of this fanfare to say that this questionably reliable guy made not one, not two, but 3 separate guidebooks on collecting Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise. And as somebody who is a very, very large Five Nights at Freddy's collector, as many people know, and with me also being somebody who's probably more knowledgeable on FNAF merchandise than I am on FNAF games, and I wanted to take a good look at his guidebooks to find out if they are truly a reliable source of information for FNAF fans to collect merch through. Did he miss anything on the checklists? How's the information in the book? Well, let's take a look here, starting with the one that I'm the most knowledgeable on, the action figure guidebook, which is also the smallest one. But before we get quite into that, I want to mention that I'm only going to cover the action figure guide in depth, because for the sake of time in this video, I'm just going to be covering the highlights of the other 2 books, and I'm the most knowledgeable on action figures, so I'm probably not the best person to cover the other 2 in depth. But I will be pointing out what I find most interesting about them, because I have read all these books all the way through. Before we get into reading these funny books, I want to talk about my new merch store that I just launched. This is just here for an extra way to support the channel when I don't have a plush campaign going on, It's completely not limited. Everything here will stay here for a while, and I'll be adding new stuff every once in a while, so if any of this interests you, maybe consider getting something. If you can't, don't worry about it. Let's get back to the video.
There's pillows here. Look at that. It's a pillow. It's awesome.
Alright, so now we're going to be reading books. Now, I promise, do not click off. It is more exciting than it sounds. Now, as I said before, we're mainly going to be focusing on the action figure guide. Since this is the one that I know the most about, I'm very, very knowledgeable on the action figure line. I have every single one, so this seems like the one that's the most up my alley in terms of if I can see if information is correct. Probably the least knowledgeable in mystery minis, even though I do have quite a lot of them. And then we've got the plush visual guide, which I do know quite a bit about, but I'm also not too big of a plush collector with the FNAF plushies at least. But yeah, I guess we'll just start with the action figure guide. So you can see the cover here, Puppet Steve's unofficial Five Nights at Freddy's Funko action figure visual guide from 2016 to 2023 for all the figures, which is pretty awesome. Just like covering all that much ground. It's surprisingly thinner than I would expect it to be, but also I guess it makes sense because the action figures do have the least out of all the lines. So, yeah. Each page, wait, no, up here it says, this is the most comprehensive visual and exhaustive guide to Five Nights at Freddy's Funko Articulated Figures series. Each page contains photos, bios, history, stats, whatever the hell stats means, release year, tag picture, commentaries, and box art. So, interesting. I don't know why it says tag picture since these don't really have tags, but I assume that they just kind of... No, that's different. Yeah, tag picture seems like it was just copy-pasted from there, but, yeah. And then the main selling point, you'll also get hilarious commentaries from yours truly, Puppet Steve. From me, Zombie Steve, too. So, these are obviously the most interesting part of the book, these stupid commentaries. I am a big fan of the Puppet Steve show, as many people know. I'm #1 Puppet Steve fan. So, very, very excited to see what their awesome commentary is on this. It's got awesome Freddy. Copyright 2023. I don't know if you can copyright this, Puppet Steve. You don't seem to own any of these characters or figures. Let's see. FNAF action figures. Funko acquired the license into Five Nights at Freddy's and began treating fans of the popular video game series with very ambitious merchandise push in 2016. Yeah, they sure did, treat fans. Alright, so, first page, Freddy Fazbear. Freddy is the main mascot of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This animatronic bear is the lead singer and gives quite the stage performance on the main stage at the restaurant. Check out Freddy's first figure and get ready for 200 Freddy Fazbear variants in this line. I don't think there's 200 Freddy action figures. Don't mind me just knocking over several $100 figure. So, I don't think that's a bit of a weird thing. Maybe it's across all three lines, I guess there would be over 200 Freddys, but this is an action figure guide. I don't think there's 200 Freddys in the action figure line. There's probably like, I don't even think there's 50. That's a big number. That's a big number, Puppet Steve. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of like little commentary here. And most of it is just kind of like weird descriptions of the characters rather than actually like explaining what the character, anything about the figure. It's mostly explaining stuff about the character, which is neat, but also kind of defeats the purpose of being an action figure guide. Like, doesn't tell me about the action figure, it tells me about the character. And Puppet Steve is absolutely not the person to be giving people info about FNAF characters, considering he is his only knowledge on the series basically comes from merchandise. Gotta love that Foxy! Something I do notice here is that these are specifically images of the re-release versions of the figures. That does not account for the fact that there is a dark red and an orange Foxy. The orange one was the original release, and then the re-release version was the dark red version, which you see in this image. I guess it's just because this is the version you get if you buy them nowadays, but a little strange that they're not, like, showing that there's multiple versions of the figure, because I feel like that'd be kind of important for a visual guide. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it seems pretty worth the mention that this figure and this figure are both from the same Foxy, but they're obviously different releases of it. I feel like it'd be pretty important to mention that, yeah, there are two releases and they look pretty dang different. But we can flip back over to the Bonnie page. Bonnie is the lead guitarist of the stage band. He plays a mean guitar, so don't get his way during his guitar solo. Okay, buddy. Again, pictures of the re-release figures. The Bonnie re-release looks fine, but like, this is a ghastly looking Chica figure. Oh my gosh, look at the cupcake. The paint is terrible. Now, the description for Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy's a very lore-heavy character, so I'm wondering what he has to say. Golden Freddy appeared in the first game as a crumpled-up animatronic in the corner of the room, not serving any purpose. No, that's not how he appeared. He appeared as he could show up, but he wasn't there all the time, and he definitely served a purpose, because he could kill you. This Freddy suit was often worn by the creator of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Henry, which is correct, because in the novel trilogy, Henry wore the Golden Freddy suit, and William wore the Spring Bonnie suit. And then, well, Springtrap, inside the Springtrap outfit is William Afton, the game's main bad guy. I need all pieces. Okay, whatever. Now we got arguably the rarest FNAF figure of all of them, the glow-in-the-dark Foxy, who, once Series 1 became popular with kids, Funko scrambled to release more product. Releasing a Foxy that glowed in the dark was a quick solution. This Hot Topic exclusive is super rare and fetches a steep price today. That is true. No real problems with that page. Good job. This page is kind of funny because he mentions like a personal experience with the Jacko Chica figure of how he saw it clearance out at GameStop for $10. Like, yeah, that's cool, but that's not really helpful to a guidebook. Let's see here. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 gave birth to the nightmare versions of the characters, which were rebuilt by William Afton to be even deadlier. I don't think that's the lore of FNAF 4. It could be. I mean, it's not like we have a good idea, but I don't think that's what... I don't think they're... Maybe they are, I don't know. This one is very funny and controversial. Mangle figure, which I don't think it's Mangle. That's clearly says Fun9 Foxy on the box, but Mangle is pretty much the toy version of Foxy. Foxy received new color upgrades and was switched from male to female in order to be more appealing to kids. He has no idea. Puppet Steve has no idea. I feel bad for him. He's gonna get tore apart for that one. Nightmare Jan comes from the FNAF 4 Halloween add-on, which replaced the puppet with his nightmarish counterpart. And that's interesting, because the puppet wasn't in the base FNAF 4. I'm going to order some fast food from Funtime Foxy's speaker box. Thank you, Puppet Steve. That's really awesome. That's really cool. I'm really glad you said. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this means. Can someone please explain? I'm excited to see what he says about Ennard. He was born from the leftover spare parts and pieces from all the other animatronics left laying around in the storage room. He gained consciousness and became strong enough to become the final boss in Sister Location. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's wrong, but it also doesn't... It kind of leaves out the fact that he is the other animatronics. He's not just made of spare parts. Yeah, Glow in the Dark Baby, which is covered pretty well. No real issues there. Here we got the Lolbit page, which claims that Lolbit is the rarest figure in the line, which I honestly do not agree with. I think Glow in the Dark Foxy is easily more rare than Lolbit. Lolbit is just expensive because it's a unique character. Glow in the Dark Foxy I guarantee there are less of him in the world. The Rockstar Freddy page makes it clear that Rockstar Freddy is a mix of Toy Freddy and original Freddy, so I guess I can see that, but I don't think that was really the intention. I think Scott was just trying to go for a different look. I need a parrot on my shoulder to be my new sidekick. Zombie Steve wouldn't be happy about that, though. Good job, Puppet Steve. The Orville Elephant page is a random picture of the mediocre melodies there, which is very silly. Okay, so, interesting thing here. After Circus Baby was destroyed by Ennard, she became part of his consciousness. Once Ennard was destroyed, her tortured soul escaped and learned how to rebuild herself and become a Scrap Baby. But, like, I don't think Puppet Steve, like, kind of understands Ennard in, like, FNAF 6. He kind of understands it. But you can tell he doesn't really, because he thinks Ennard is a different character. He thinks Ennard is his own character, when Ennard is just all of them acting as a hive mind. Also, Ennard wasn't destroyed to create Scrap Baby. Baby was just kicked out of Ennard. And for how much these character bios love to talk about lore, Lefty's bio does not mention the puppet once. Now here we got the page for the blacklight figures and the glow in the dark figures. I guess this is why this book is a bit shorter, because they kind of just bundled these ones together. But yeah, makes sense because there's not really a lot to say about them individually, but it does mention how the glow in the dark set was panned by critics as they didn't want 2 gimmicky sets in a row, which yeah, that was the case. This was a very lame set. Wow, I love these 80s styles. I need to dress like Marty McFly from Back to the Future and hop on my hoverboard. Thank you, Puppet Steve. So this Vanny page is pretty funny. Vanny is the main bad guy, or should I say bad girl, of Security Breach. The game doesn't reveal who the woman inside the creepy bunny outfit is, but there's strong evidence for it being the security guard Vanessa. Real and true. The game does not confirm who's inside the suit. Real and true, Puppet Steve. Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about this page, but I feel like I should mention the Dreadbear page because I am the person who has like 80 Dreadbear action figures. Oh boy, Glitch Trap lore. Glitch Trap appears in Help Wanted. Little known about his backstory. Theorists believe Glitch Trap is another suit created by William Afton that's either possessed by Afton's spirit or contains data chips with his memory stored in them. Either way, Afton back from the dead causing trouble again. Okay, buddy. So what exactly is the Dreadbear curse, and how do you get it? Hope it's not contagious. I was sick with a mummy's curse for a whole 2 months. What are you talking about? I like this one where it says each skin gives the character new abilities. He's giving Illumix too much credit. If you use the GPS lore system too long, you will get radiation poisoned. What? What are you talking about? This doesn't happen in the game. I played FNAF AR like a lot back when it released, so like I know too much about this stupid game. But yeah, no, that's not a mechanic. None of the skins have unique mechanics. That's why they're skins. He comes with a ability to short circuit any nearby electronics he stands too close to. He just made that up. That's not a mechanic in the game. Let's see. What does he say about high score Chica? Chica allows you to throw cupcakes during her mini game that helps make kids happy. What? There's no. What do you mean the cupcake throwing mini game in FNAF AR with the high score Chica skin? If you create too many toxic purple bubbles, you die. Another mechanic that he just made up and put in the book. I wonder if I can eat toxic bubbles. They can't be that bad for me. The worst that could happen is I die again. That's true, Zombie Steve. You are already dead. I forget that. Sometimes I just think he's just a weird green thing. Little side note, but I don't know how long it's been since Zombie Steve has actually appeared in a Puppet Steve video, but I feel like it's been a very long time, and I miss him. It says Livewire Freddy is an Easter egg character when no, that's just what he looks like when he's attacking. Funko released yet another cash grab set. Man, throwing shots at your own partner. Blackheart Bonnie minigame consists of a heart monitor that you have to keep in check. What is he talking about? I'm wondering if he actually did make these up or if he found like some weird fanon wiki that he used as fact. I know there's a FNAF game where it's like, of all the characters in Ultimate Custom Night, or it's just like a big extended roster of Ultimate Custom Night. Maybe this is like their mechanics in that game. That's the only thing I can think of if he didn't just make them up. Now we're on to the circus set, which everybody knows these characters don't actually appear in any games. Let's see what he has to say about them. Freddy and the gang remained as clowns for this series. Freddy wears a huge clown bow tie for his outfit. Freddy is now an actual clown, hitting people over the head with that mallet. Some things never change. He always did that. I don't think he always did that. I like how here he just explains what photonegative means because he knows his audience is really young. Now let's see. Puppet Steve wrote a little song here. Let's sing the iconic song. Frosty the Chica was a jolly happy chick with an orange beak and a Waldo hat and 2 eyes made of coal. That is a Waldo hat. So that's about all that's interesting in the Puppet Steve's unofficial Funko FNAF action figure visual guide 2016 through 2023. And, decent book, I guess. Nice selection of figures on the cover. I never really mentioned that before, but like, yeah, this is decent. I mean, it gets a lot of info wrong, but if you just need something like that as like a physical checklist that you can just like go to the page with the figure you don't have and then just cross it off and then, you know, use this as a checklist. I guess it could be useful for that. Yeah, that's about the only use I could see people getting out of this, though, because the info in it is definitely not very useful. But it does contain every figure. I don't believe he missed out on any of them. I could double check in my collection, but I do believe he got everything. Now, moving on to the book that I think people can get the absolute most use out of is the Mystery Mini Guide, because this thing, as you can see, is quite a bit thicker than the previous one, being, obviously there's a lot more Mystery Minis than any other Funko line, because, you know, there has to be a ton in each set. But, yeah, pretty interesting book here. It does say it has a lot more, like, stuff here, and it also has variant info, which is cool, because, obviously didn't include variant info in this book, but yeah. Now, honestly, looking through this, I'd honestly say this is the best of the guidebooks, because this one not only introduces a lot of, it just like has very nice like images and everything of every mini, but it also has a lot of interesting info that a lot of people don't know. I knew all this stuff, but I think it's pretty interesting how even Puppet Steve like did his research on the mystery minis and actually like went through. This is easily the most comprehensive one. I always thought this pose made Chica look like a weird Dracula Chica. Cool thing here, he mentions the orange Springtrap prototype here, which likely was not even intended to be how he was going to look. I think they just couldn't get the right plastic color before they had to show off the set, but like, still cool that this is included here, because I know a lot of people who probably do not know about the orange Springtrap. That was a thing. And he even put it on the cover of the book. Got Balloon Boy here. Since Balloon Boy carries a balloon, I wonder if they'd call him Anvil Boy if he carried anvils. I guess they probably would, but I don't know why. Why did he say this? There's so many things in this book, I just don't know why he said this. Like, why anvils? Why not any other object ever? It's just so... Me loves puppets. I'm a puppet too. Woohoo! And he also mentions the great tragedy here, which is that the cupcake mini was changed to be the toy cupcake after originally it was going to be the FNAF 1 cupcake. This looks so much better. I really wish they ended up going with this one, because this is just such a better looking mini. I hope they do make it be like a movie Mystery Mini Wave, but like, such a lame decision there from Funko. But glad that's included here. Also, it says his official name is Carl. His official name has never been Carl. Hey, good job. You got this backstory of the toy animatronics right. Good job. Also, I didn't mention how it does include all the rarities and stuff for every figure, which is pretty dang cool. Ew, this was kind of like seeing Freddy naked. True. And then it also mentions how the prototype for the Crying Child did have gray tear stripes, which is true. Not sure why they really changed it, because it just makes it less accurate. I don't know why they went with the blue. I guess just to make it more colorful, but yeah, I kind of wish they did go with the gray. A lot of the descriptions in this book are just rehashed, but, you know. How the heck do you pronounce RWQFSAFXXC? What the... I'm dyslexic. Then you got scans of all the box art, which is honestly extremely cool. I wish more things actually did that. I love scans of box art. There we got the glow-in-the-dark series mentioned here. We got some awesome screenshots from Puppet Steve videos. I love to see Puppet Steve screenshots in my Puppet Steve book. There was also unreleased mystery minis here, which he does mention. There were going to be Sitting Balloon Boy, Sitting Crying Child, and Sitting Puppet. There was also going to be a Shadow Chica and a Shadow Foxy, along with a closed faceplate Biddy Bab. These are very obscure. I'm surprised he knows about these, but yeah, these were very, very interesting, and I kind of wish they did release, even though Shadow Chica and Shadow Foxy obviously don't exist, but like, closed faceplate Biddy Bab is so weird, especially when, open faceplate Biddy Bab was made, and it's like one of the rarest mystery minis, but like, just a very, very odd thing to not include. I do get why these weren't included. I assume these sitting ones were just kind of like they were originally planned to be sitting figures, but then they ended up making them standing for whatever reason, but yeah, that's an interesting little bit of info that he included here. Look closely and you'll spot mini Freddys growing out of his sides. I don't like it when you zoom in on that. It looks gross. I really like this render of Puppet Steve. I really like this render. This is awesome. I love how he looks here. That looks so funny. I love that. The second head is highly detailed, making this figure one of the most complex Funko has ever released. Just the second head makes it that? Okay. Really just amazing thing he just said here. They couldn't change the color scheme of Funtime Foxy just a little from Mangle? Who's in charge here? I want to see a manager. I'm going Karen mode. Thank you, Puppet Steve. I hope you have success going Karen mode. Oh yeah, his awesome catchphrase, Puppet Bonus, is in the book. I'm really glad he included Puppet Bonus. I think I need a Jacko Puppet Steve skin to replace me in our Halloween episodes. Can someone draw that? Please draw Jacko Puppet Steve. I need that. Now, the Molten Freddy lore here is quite interesting. Molten Freddy is the evolved form of Ennard. After Ennard consciousness was destroyed, a backup version of Funtime Freddy's consciousness took over and created a new mess of wires that turned itself into the likeness of Funtime Freddy, but with orange accents like Lolbit. It also is a Hot Topic exclusive. This figure is exclusive to GameStop. Yet another GameStop exclusive being labeled as Hot Topic, just misinformation in this guidebook. So, awesome. Now, a crazy looking animatronic is actually a scanning machine. The red belly is a scanning device that scans tickets, documents, etc. I don't think that's ever been said, ever. But maybe he's onto something. I honestly remember the Funko merch showing this, and I thought it was a really cool idea that Monty just had crazy eyes under his sunglasses. Then the game release, he just had boring eyes, which is lame. You can see on the Toxic Springtrap page, he says, "Ugh, I have the same problem with Mexican food." Anyway, pretty cool guidebook. I like this one. This is a pretty good one. Ignore all there's a lot of misinfo in here, but if you just want a mystery mini checklist, good book. Good book. It's pretty comprehensive. It's got all of them. Alright, here we are. Next day, back on the same table. I didn't have to tell you it was the next day, because you couldn't tell. Plush visual guide that I didn't talk about, because I got tired, so yeah. Cover here, weird prototype image of Ennard. I don't know why he just didn't use the regular Ennard plush, because the prototype really isn't different enough to warrant being on the cover, but oh well. Here we got Chocolate Bonnie plush. I'm only pointing this out because I hate the stock art. It looks nothing like the actual plush. Let me... What happened to him? Why does he look like that in the image? I hate the stock art for that plush, but yeah. Back of the book, same deal as the other ones, and same little blurbs from Puppet Steve and Zombie Steve. These all have barcodes on the back, by the way, I noticed, and I think it's interesting because I don't believe that they're sold in stores. Maybe they are. I'm not sure why they have a barcode. That's interesting. Now, similar to the other books, it does start off with this large little text blurb and a little thing that marks everything that's in the book right down here. It is quite a fair bit shorter than the one on the Mystery Mini one. It's about the same as the action figure one, which makes sense because the Mystery Mini one had a lot more ground to cover with what it talked about. This one, pretty straightforward. There's a picture of Wave 1 right there. Now, this book is very similar to the other ones. All the blurbs are pretty much the same, so nothing really too new to say. Puppet Steve says, "Whoa, it's the star of Freddy Fazbear's. I need his autograph." Thank you, Puppet Steve. And then you got little scans of the card, of like the tags for the plushies, which is honestly very, very useful and cool to see. And does help like differentiating bootlegs and stuff for people who may not know. So I do like that. I like how they include little scans of what the cards look like. I think that is very, very useful. Bonnie and Chica's thing. It's pretty simple. "I could never find Toy Freddy at retail. I went to 20 GameStops and all I found were empty FNAF display boxes. Rest in peace, man. That's tough." It also says that the Toy Foxy plush was released before her name was officially changed to Mangle, which, I mean, no. This is 2016. FNAF 2 came out 2 years ago at this point. This, I'm not sure what he really means by this, because this plushie is referred to as the Funtime Foxy plush by Funko. So, this character's name is Funtime Foxy, and the plush is based on FNAF World, and it's called Funtime Foxy in FNAF World. I don't know what he's on about here. Let's see, 2 of the rarest plushies. Has nothing to say about them. Alright, good going there. Now we got some awesome commentary here. "Whoa, looks like Freddy went into his Terminator mode. Hasta la vista, baby." And then Zombie Steve says, Poor Foxy, he looks like he drank 80 cups of coffee. That's a good way of describing that plush, to be honest. Yeah, I think the funniest part about these books is just how obvious it is that Puppet Steve is just like a 40-year-old man. I think it's very silly. The Nightmare Cupcake plush says that you got a plush before Nightmare Chica, which is true. And then we got the Mangle page, which just refers to as Mangle, which is good, because a lot of people mistake this for a Nightmare Mangle plush because of the teeth. It is not. This is just the regular Mangle plush. They never made a Nightmare Mangle. But the blurb is identical to the other one, except they removed the beginning part that said the name was changed. I don't know what's going on here. The blurb for Phantom Foxy refers to him as Phantom Freddy. Very, very cool right there. And then another cool prototype fact here, that there was originally a Smiling Funtime Foxy plush at Toy Fair, which is true. I'm not sure if it was actually confirmed to have been intended to be a retailer exclusive, or if they just couldn't decide if they wanted to have the teeth or not. But either way, it's neat that that's included here, because that is a nice fact. And the Ballora page also shows the absolute tragedy that is the canceled original Ballora plush. This looks infinitely better than the final version. Like, there's no contest. I don't know why. They probably changed it because they're cheap and they wanted to make the plushie cheaper to produce, but man, I'm not even a Ballora fan, but that is a good plush. Do we really need a plushie of this? How about giving me some exotic bagels to go with it? Now, this is one of the most interesting pages in the book just because of what he says about it. So, this is the new and improved puppet from Pizzeria Simulator that has faceplate similar to Ennard. This time, he pops out of a prize box to perform his security duties. So, interesting description. Interesting that he mentions that it's specifically similar to Ennard, how the security puppet has faceplates, and also how the security puppet's out of the prize box, which I guess wasn't a feature of the original puppet, even though it was. And then down here, rebuilding the puppet from Ennard parts. Tell me this won't end badly. I don't think the security puppet was rebuilt from Ennard parts. That is genuinely like one of the craziest like interpretations I've seen in any of these books, because that is just like, he literally just made that up. I don't think he found that from anywhere. Like, maybe it's like some random Reddit post, because I know there's a lot of weird Reddit posts that just talk about crazy theories. Like, I saw the one that's like, does anyone think the Mimic looks kind of like Funtime Freddy? But like, okay, buddy. So, I just read all 3 of the Puppet Steve Five Nights at Freddy's books. Do I appreciate what I used my time for today? Probably a little bit. So, what can we learn from this experience? Well, it's pretty clear that the irate gamer, unsurprisingly, doesn't know a whole lot about FNAF, but he's sure trying his best. And it's an honest effort that I can honestly get behind. I thought these would be way too interesting not to make a video on, so hope you guys enjoyed this kind of long-winded review video, I guess. Wanted to try out a bit of a different style for this video in terms of just making longer merch review videos, so let me know if you guys like it, and maybe I'll do something similar in the future. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video when I talk about